Hello and welcome to this video where we're going to talk about how you can improve the funding of public schools. And you know what? It might not have to be just in taxes. So, interested? Stay tuned and we'll talk about that in this video. All right, what we'll be talking about in this video are entrepreneurship, the creative aspect of teachers and students, and how to tap into that. We're going to be talking about creating the desire to give back to your community and endowments and putting all those things together and a little bit more. But that's where we're going to go in this video. So schools can do a much better job on several levels. And one of them is helping their teachers and students who are very creative, who come up with brilliant ideas, tap into those ideas, market those ideas, make money off those ideas. Now, with the internet, there's a whole lot more access to people from all over than before the internet. There is a company out there, it's called Teachers Pay Teachers. And there's a teacher out there who's made $2 million over all her creative ideas that she did to help her manage her classroom and lesson plans, etc. Teachers go, oh, that's great. I don't need to recreate the wheel. And they'll pay for it. Sometimes you as a teacher go, man, like, okay, I had this idea. I want to teach some economic principles to my students. There's some ideas there that they need to learn about. How can I do that? How can I do that in a fun way? I have a small classroom. What can I do? So I took the game Monopoly, recreated it with my own rules and own little twist to it, set it up to teach certain economic principles. And I could have, never did, probably marketed that. Used the game Axis and Allies to teach some World War II components. Same thing. How can I adapt this board game that has, just playing a board game has lots of potential for social skill development, all kinds of things, teamwork. And how can I take that and create lessons around that? I did that all the time. I could have, if a school had helped me market that, etc., probably made some money off that. That the school takes some because they helped market it, and I may take some. When systems begin to think that way, there's a whole lot more potential. The second area of untapped potential is encouraging entrepreneurship, development of products, services, ideas, things that people need. We're filling a need. There are countless of ideas that are generated by teachers, which we already talked about in the course of developing school things, lesson plans, etc. But kids have ideas, whether it's idea for a game, maybe some you even have some really creative kid in terms of creating knows how to code and comes up with an idea. Music, poetry, literature, all kinds of things. TV shows, movies, filming. Kids come up with lots of ideas. What if schools helped encourage that? Some wouldn't go anywhere. They get valuable lessons learned. Some would have some real marketable potential. And what if we could help the kids actually turn that into a profitable business venture? Maybe something they even sell. School obviously takes a portion, and so doesn't the child. What would be wrong with that? Think about the lessons learned and the value coming back into the community. Let me give you an example. I met recently a gentleman, a few years younger than me, serial entrepreneur. His entrepreneurial journey began when he was 6 years old. Now, he didn't get help from the school system. But let's imagine he did. All right, so his journey began because As a 6-year-old, he's being dropped off at his parents' car dealership after school because his parents is a small dealership and they're working there, right? So when he's dropped off, they give him things to do. So he would have to like wash cars like every day after school, right? Washing cars, making himself useful. And the way he tells the story is he held out for more money at 6 years old. Mom's like, no, we feed you, we clothe you, you got some work to do. Well, he didn't like that idea too much, so he went to his grandmother because he had an idea where he could make some money. And see, she made these like some ethnic dessert that was just out of this world, and everybody loved them and raved about them. So he enticed his grandmother to bake a whole bunch of these things so he could go down to the car dealership and sell to the people coming on the lot. And he sold out like the first hour. Well, he reinvested his profits. Soon he had his grandmother and her friends, and they were making all kinds, using the kitchen at home, and he's beginning to make regular money. Well, guess what? In time, he expands as he gets older. He actually goes out and gets a commercial kitchen. He turns this into a catering company. By the time he's 17 years old, he sells that catering company for over $1 million. That was his launch to a serial entrepreneurship. Now imagine if he had, or if a school system encouraged a kid like that, an opportunity like that, rather than dissuade it, encouraged it. Just imagine what that could do. Lessons-wise, financially. Untapped potential that we've just totally dismissed. Now, let's say we had, from the earliest outset, had thought of public schools a little bit differently. And people began to say, you know what? The foundation of my education, of all I've learned, the things that really got me started was what I learned back in my community, my public school growing up. Then the experience of the athletics there and all that. I'm going to give back to that. We are encouraged to give back to our universities. I think that's a wonderful thing. But could you imagine if we also had the same mindset about giving back to our public schools? The public school where my wife went and where she taught for years, it's one of the oldest public schools in the country. Imagine if they had encouraged giving back and setting up of endowments over all those years. Harvard University, oldest university, one of the oldest universities in America, and interest off their endowment, $2 billion a year approximately. Why not public schools? Why not? Right? If we encourage that, begin to set that up, I'll let you guys do the math. Imagine, right? Maybe not immediately, but every dollar that comes in is a dollar saved, right? Taxes that you don't necessarily have to pay. Think about that. So how do we begin to implement these ideas? Well, shift in mindset, shift in thinking, enough people beginning to ask the right questions. How about things like voucher systems that then give somebody the idea to start their own school, their own way of doing things? So you public-private partnerships. There are schools in my state that are funded publicly but run privately. It's a model that works well. If we begin to rethink this idea of public education from being, all right, we are going to vote for school boards, hire superintendents, and they run things, and we begin to think it outside the box and how to tap into charitable giving, these endowments, entrepreneurship, the creative forces within schools, the students and faculty, you can begin to see how funding could be significantly different and much greater. that wraps up this video, and I encourage you, as always, please consider subscribing to my channel, putting out all kinds of videos. We're actually also going to be doing a whole different style video beginning real shortly. So subscribe, check those out. In particular, you might want to check out the video, how can we improve public school academic accommodations? Check that video out today, and I will see you in another video.